She regretted the blind date, until his daughter walked in and said, "You're the one from Daddy's story." Emily Parker stared at her reflection in the restaurant window and immediately regretted agreeing to the blind date. She was 32 years old, successful in her career, and completely exhausted by years of disappointing relationships. Her best friend had practically begged her to give dating one more chance. "He's different," her friend had promised. "He's kind, responsible, and genuinely good." Emily had heard those words before. They never ended well. Taking a deep breath, she walked inside the restaurant. A few moments later, she spotted her date sitting alone at a corner table. His name was Daniel Brooks. He looked friendly enough, but he seemed nervous, constantly checking his watch and glancing toward the entrance. Emily forced a polite smile and approached the table. "Daniel?" she asked. He stood immediately. "Emily. Nice to meet you." They shook hands and sat down. The first few minutes felt awkward. The conversation struggled to find a rhythm. Daniel seemed distracted. Every few moments, he checked his phone. Emily tried to remain patient, but disappointment slowly settled in. This was exactly why she hated blind dates. Finally, after Daniel looked at his phone for the 5th time, Emily couldn't hide her frustration. "Expecting an important call?" she asked. Daniel looked embarrassed. "Actually, yes." Emily nodded. "I see." Daniel sighed. "It's not what you think. Isn't it?" Emily replied. "Because it feels like you'd rather be somewhere else." Daniel immediately shook his head. "No. Not at all. It's just, my daughter." Emily paused. "Your daughter?" "She's 8 years old." He smiled softly. "I'm raising her alone." Emily felt slightly guilty for assuming the worst. "Single dad?" "For 5 years now." Before Emily could respond, Daniel's phone rang. He looked at the screen and immediately answered. His expression changed instantly. "Slow down, sweetheart," he said gently. "What's wrong?" Emily couldn't hear the other side of the conversation, but she noticed concern filling Daniel's face. A moment later, he stood up. "I'm sorry," he told Emily. "I have to go." Emily blinked. "Right now?" "My daughter had a panic attack. She's scared, and she needs me." Emily stared at him for a second. Part of her wanted to be annoyed. Another part respected his priorities. Daniel reached for his wallet. "I'll pay for dinner. We haven't even ordered." "Still." Emily shrugged. "Go. She comes first." Relief washed across his face. "Thank you." He hesitated. "I'm really sorry." "It's okay." Daniel rushed out of the restaurant. Emily sat alone for several moments before laughing softly to herself. Another failed date. At least this one had a good reason. A week later, Emily was surprised when Daniel sent her a message. He apologized again and explained what had happened. His daughter, Lily, struggled with anxiety and occasionally experienced panic attacks. He thanked Emily for understanding and asked if she would consider giving him a second chance. Emily stared at the message for a long moment. Something about his honesty felt genuine. Against her better judgment, she agreed. This time they chose a small café on a quiet Saturday afternoon. When Emily arrived, Daniel was already there. He stood and smiled. "I promise not to leave this time." Emily laughed. "Good." The conversation immediately felt different. Without the stress of the previous evening, Daniel relaxed. Emily discovered he was thoughtful, intelligent, and surprisingly funny. Hours passed quickly. For the first time in years, she genuinely enjoyed talking to someone. Then Daniel's expression shifted. "There's something I should tell you." Emily raised an eyebrow. That sounds serious. Maybe. He smiled nervously. My babysitter cancelled. Emily blinked. Today? An hour ago. So what happens? Now? Daniel glanced toward the entrance. Actually, before he could finish, a small girl burst through the cafe door. She spotted Daniel instantly. Daddy, she shouted. Daniel laughed as the little girl ran toward him. Emily watched as he knelt down and hugged her tightly. The sight melted something inside her. Lily then noticed Emily. Her eyes widened dramatically. She froze. Daniel looked confused. Lily? The little girl stared at Emily for several seconds. Then her face lit up with excitement. Daddy, she shouted. It's her. Daniel blinked. What? Lily pointed directly at Emily. She's the one. Emily looked confused. The one what? Lily bounced with excitement. The one from Daddy's story. Silence filled the table. Daniel's face immediately turned bright red. Lily, you talk about her all the time. Lily announced proudly. Daniel looked horrified. Emily tried not to laugh. Do I want to know? She asked. Lily nodded enthusiastically. After your first date, Daddy kept saying he met the nicest lady ever. Lily. And he said she was pretty. Lily. And smart. Lily. The little girl finally stopped talking. Emily struggled to hide her smile. Daniel covered his face with both hands. I am so sorry. Emily laughed. Don't be. Lily climbed into the chair beside them. Daddy thought you'd never go out with him again. Daniel groaned. Please stop helping. But it's true. Emily couldn't remember the last time she'd laughed this much. Throughout the afternoon, she watched the relationship between father and daughter. Daniel listened patiently to every story Lily told. He encouraged her, supported her, and made her feel important. Whenever she became nervous or uncertain, he reassured her immediately. It became obvious why Lily adored him. Later, while Lily colored quietly at the table, Emily looked at Daniel. Can I ask you something? Sure. Why did you tell her about me? Daniel smiled softly. Because she asks about everything. Everything? Everything. Emily laughed. Daniel continued. After our first date, she asked why I looked disappointed. And? I told her I met someone wonderful, but I thought I'd ruined my chance. Emily felt her heart skip slightly. Daniel looked away. I didn't expect to see you again. Before Emily could respond, Lily interrupted. I told him you'd come back. Daniel smiled. Yes, you did. Because good people always come back. For a moment, nobody spoke. Emily felt something she hadn't expected. Hope. Real hope. Months passed. Emily became a regular part of their lives. She attended school events, movie nights, and weekend adventures. She never tried to replace Lily's mother. Instead, she became someone Lily trusted and loved. One evening, nearly a year after that awkward blind date, the three of them sat together watching the sunset in a park. Lily suddenly smiled. Daddy? Yes? Remember when I said Emily was the one from your story? Daniel laughed. I remember. Lily looked at Emily. I was right. Daniel reached for Emily's hand. Emily squeezed it gently. Looking at the little girl who had changed everything with a single sentence, she smiled. She had almost walked away after that first failed date. She had almost decided Daniel wasn't worth another chance. Instead, she discovered that sometimes the best love stories don't begin with perfect first impressions. Sometimes they begin with a second chance, a little patience, and a child brave enough to say exactly what's in her heart. And as Emily sat beside Daniel and Lily, she realized something wonderful. The blind date she once regretted had become the best decision she ever made.